Hello everyone, welcome to OJ Patterns, and today we'll be working on adaptation of skirt. Adaptation is same thing as skirt variation, which means using your basic sloper to achieve different design slash style. So this is my basic sloper. I'm going to be working with the half scale basic sloper to achieve different designs. So the first thing you need to do, you need to get your tracing wheel, you need to get your half scale block, and you need to get pattern paper that you use in tracing out. So you can fold your pattern paper. Here I have like 3 patterns folded into 3 already. So at the end of the day, I might be getting up to like 9. So it's easier to trace. So I'll place it under and place my sloper on it. Now, because I don't want my pattern to move, I'll be using my pattern tape to hold it in place. So I can always turn my paper however I want it. So you just have to hold it in place so you can work easily. So I'll be tracing. Now you need to hold your tracing wheel firmly and trace on the lines. So the more pressure you put on it, the more bold it comes out when you trace. So I'm tracing on my lines. Please be careful when tracing because you don't want to trace out of the lines. You have to be careful, you have to put in more pressure, you have to ensure you maintain your line. Please don't forget to like and subscribe as well as share this video to help others. So we're using the half scale to adapt. So you have to trace on the lines. So put more pressure on it and trace on all lines. So this way you don't have to start drafting all over again because you have your lines traced out. And it's going to make our work easy, like very easy. Okay, so now I've traced out all my lines, my hip line, upper hip line, the dart, the new waistline, everything. The center from center back, side seam, the hem is traced out wrong. So once you trace, you can remove the first one. So once you remove your basic sloper that you use in training, be careful that you use in tracing. You can see the lines visible on it. So all I need to do is cut out all this. This is what I'll be using for my adaptation. So I'm going to cut out so that we'll have the pieces. So how do we indicate? We can also mark out on all. This is CF, this is CB. While cutting, you can mark out and your CF and CB, you can differentiate them from the dart. Usually the CB dart is longer than the CF dart, so you can always differentiate it. So I'm going to cut out my pattern, cutting on the trace line. So I'll just cut out everything once, all the patterns. I told you I have about 9 here that I'll be using for adaptation. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you get to see, you get the notification, and turn on your notification button so you get notified once a video is posted. And at the end of this video, I'll give something I have a surprise for you. And also you can cut in bits to make your work easy. You can cut in bits if you're not comfortable cutting the whole patterns together. You can decide to separate them and cut like 2 2 or 3 3. But don't forget you have to cut on the trace lines. So you're separating. What I'm going to do now is separate my center front from center back. You have to cut the mark part. So I cut on the side seam, cut on my new waistline, my center back line, and my center front line. So you cut off all your patterns. So this way I have more patterns. I have 9 of each. You also want to be careful and be sure you're cutting on the trace line. So the more pressure you apply while tracing, the bolder the trace lines appears on your pattern. So you want to be able to see everything. So I have my patterns, I have my center back, I have my center front. You can always tell the difference. And this is my center back. Yeah. So this is my center back and my center front, all traced out. So we can begin our adaptation. So as I said earlier, adaptation is using your basic sloper to interpret different designs slash styles. So we're going to be achieving different design and style using our basic sloper. So I have center back, center front. I have enough. So I'll be showing you the back and front of it. So what I need to do now is the first skirt we're going to adapt is the A-line skirt. So for the A-line skirt, you need to trace out your sloper back and front. I have my center front and center back. So I'll be adapting both front and back. So I need one CF and one CB. So it makes it work easy so you understand perfectly. If you have any questions, you can drop it in the comment section below and I will attend to it. So we have different stages of drafting our sketch. So the first stage is to trace out the sloper, which we already have. So we have a sloper for it. And then measure from CF to the second dart and duplicate on hem. So the first step, this is CF. So this is my second dart. I hope you can see the trace lines. So this is my second dart. So I'll measure from the CF. The CF is the straight line at the edge to the second dart. So I have 7.5. This is second dart. This is CF 7.5. So I'll come down here at the hem, measure same 7.5 and mark. And then I'll connect with ruler to the dart tip. So you connect straight down to the dart tip. Next, use the second stage to trace on another pattern. So what we are going to do is slash on the line that we marked out, the squared out line, and place on another pattern paper. So I'm going to be bringing another paper to slash and place on it. Okay, so I have another paper. So what I'm going to do next is to slash on the squared out line, slash from the hem to the dart tip, from the hem to the dart tip, and then you're placing it on another paper. So as you slash, you close your dart. So this is the dart. You have to close it. Get the first dart leg and the second dart leg, place them together. So make sure whatever you fold, when you're folding your dart, you are folding only the dart space. So ensure we fold only the dart space. So once you fold, the excess would open up your slashed line so that it can add to its fullness. So I'm going to be placing it. Place your center front at the edge of your paper this way and tape. So you want to place your tape neatly and underneath where it doesn't show to make your work very neat and bold. Raise it up, place it to hold it down. So you also ensure your dart is properly closed and is laying perfectly. So I hope you can see the difference. So this is it. You've placed your center front on it. Now all you need to do is for added fullness. With this now, you can just connect and cut out. This is your A-line skirt. But to add extra fullness, you measure what you have for the opening here. I have 5.2. Now I measured from here, the slashed part, from here to the second slashed part. I have 5.2. If I divide 5.2 into 2, I will get 2.6. So you divide whatever measurement you have for the opening part, the slashed part, divide into 2 and replicate it on the side. So this is 2.6. Now this is the edge of my skirt hem. I'll bring the half measurement here. You mark out from there. Now you connect with your ruler the 2.6 to your hip, the upper hip line. So you connect to the hip line, sorry, not the upper one, the hip line. That's the actual hip line. So this, connect it to your hip line, straight out. Now you want to ensure you have same hem. So what you need to do is just measure from your waist to the actual skirt length and replicate same measurement, that's the 2.9 to the side. Next, what you want to do is curve it out a bit. So you just use the not so curvy part of your French curve and blend it. Next, you blend this tip together. Next step is to cut out. I just want to lay this here. Next step is to cut out. So you cut out your pattern. This is it for the A-line skirt. This is the center front. And now you need to add it so that you can add your seam allowance. So this is the next stage. You place it back on another paper. For this, you can take out the first one, so you just use the second one, but I'm just placing it so that you can tell the difference. You place it on another paper like this. So I'm just gonna leave them together and use them this way. Place the edge. So you want to tape it properly. Please always ensure you tape underneath it so that your pattern paper will always come out very neat. So now we'll be adding our allowance. Oh, sorry. I'll raise it up a bit because of the hem allowance. I'm just taking it up just a bit because of the hem. So for the side seam, you add 1.5 cm, 1.5 cm. Don't forget at the top part we have our curve because of our hip, so you have to add 1.5 following the curve like that. 1.5, 1.5 cm, and then at the hem we have 1.5. Now for the hem of the skirt, because it's a flare skirt, we'll add 1.5, but if it was like a basic straight skirt or a pencil skirt, we'll add 3 cm for hem. But this is an A-line skirt, so you add 1.5 so that by the time you are hemming, it makes the hemming very easy for you to achieve. So for this part, I'm just going to use my curve to connect the up part. So if you check, in as much as I used curve at this top part now, we still don't have any shape coming out. Everything blends smoothly. So you ensure your pattern has that too. Now for the bottom part, the 1.5, I'm going to connect with the not so curvy part of the French curve. You can connect in bits, but ensure it blends. Because your skirt is no longer straight. So I've added to the hem and to the side. Next, I'm going to cut out. So this is the final stage. So this is final stage. A-line skirt. A-line skirt size 14 half skip, because that's what I use. So you have to label final stage A-line skirt size 14 half skip. So this is a center front. So don't forget to indicate your cut on fold. So wherever you see this shape, it means cut on fold. That means this place is going to be placed on the folded edge. So this is one piece on fold. So this is cut one piece on fold. So this is the center front. So I'll just do the center back so we get to see how the center back looks like, because for center back we're supposed to add zip and the zipper allowance. So I'm just going to work on the center back for us to quickly look at that for the A-line. So now for the center back, I'll measure from, this is my center back. See, I labeled it so we can tell the difference. I'll measure from the center back to the second dart leg, that's the tip. So I'll measure what I have from here. I'll be using my marker to make it very bold. That's 7.6. I will replicate the 7.6 on the hem. 7.6, and then connect with ruler the tip. So we have the 7.6. Next, I'll get another plain paper and then slash on the mark line to the tip of the dart. Next step is to close your dart. Same thing we did for the center front. Close your dart. This is it. Close the dart and place on another paper. Place on another paper. So because what you need to note is that for the center front, if you've done and added fullness to the side, that means you have to do the same thing for the center back. But if you did not add any extra fullness, it means you just need to work on this. But because we've done for the center front, we added extra fullness. So I'm just going to repeat same. So what I'm going to do next is to measure what I have for my space, the opening after closing my dart. Measure what I have and use half of the measurement. So I have 4.2. That's 2.1. So I'll measure 2.1 out. Let me use my marker. So I'll measure 2.1 out. So this is 2.1. Next, using your ruler, connect it to the hip line. Connect it to the hip line. This is it, connected to the hip line. And ensure, same thing we did, ensure where you have the skirt length, the tip is the same thing you have at the hem. That's 32.9. I'll bring it to the side and mark so that I will get the same 32.9. Then I'll use my French curve to connect to the hem of my skirt. Like this. Then I'll connect this other part with the not to copy part of your French curve. Next, all we need to do is cut out the pattern and then place on another paper. So I decided to work with marker to make the work easy and more visible for everyone. So I have my center back. Next, what I'll be doing is take the cut part. The next stage is to place on another paper. So I'll place on another paper. And then for the center back, we'll be adding 3 cm for zipper allowance. So what I will do is measure my 3 cm here and square out first before I place my paper. 3 cm. 3 cm. And then I'll connect. This is 3 cm for zipper allowance. This is 3 cm zipper. So remember to label zipper allowance. So what I'm going to do is place my center back on the edge of the 3 cm and tape. So we want to place our tape very well in a way that is not showing to mess up our patterns. Okay, so next is to add our hemming allowance and seam allowance on the side. Don't forget, seam allowance is 1.5 cm on the side seam. So 1.5, 1.5, 1.5, 1.5 on the hem. Same thing with the center front. 1.5 on your hem, 1.5. So we connect with ruler where you have the straight parts. Connect with French curve where you have the not so straight parts. That's the hip part. And then I'll connect here with the not so curvy part. And connect in bit. This is 1.5. And here is going to be straight for the zip part. So you ensure that there's no sharp edge anywhere. So you have to blend it so that it goes straight. The curve, there's a little slight curve here and then it goes straight. And then we'll connect. Now I'm going to cut on the mark lines. So this is the center back final stage of your A-line skirt. This is half skirt. So you're going to indicate cut to paste. Thank you very much. This is front and this is back. Final stage for front and back. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you.